Welcome to another Goodfellas video where we talk about the top 24 quarterback rankings for week 11. Richard, you ready?
Week 11, we're here.
Those fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom. Rolling on the field.
Those fantasy Goodfellas. All right, before we get started on this week's rankings, Richard, tell me how we did on last week's.
Okay, if we take out Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford, who did not play, we hit on 20 of the remaining 22 quarterbacks. So,
Boom, boom, boom.
another solid week. We only missed on Taylor Heineke, who actually had a good game, but just barely missed that top 24, and Andy Dalton, who had a horrible game.
Well, let's keep it rolling. Before we get started on this week's video, let me just explain what you should expect. Richard's going to give his rankings. I'm going to use our own stat machine to see if you agree or disagree with each of his rankings. And hopefully this video helps you with your own lineups. All right, Richard, line them up.
So coming in at number 1 is Patrick Mahomes at the LA Chargers. Mahomes has been ultra consistent. You can expect a lot of touchdown passes, an explosive offense. He probably still is the best quarterback in the league. And number 2, the other guy you can make the argument for, Josh Allen, home against Cleveland. The only problem with Josh Allen is he just lost the game and he threw the interception to end it, to seal it for the Vikings. So for that reason, we'll bump him down. But we know Josh Allen is a stud. And number 3, Jalen Hurts at Indianapolis. You know, Jalen Hurts had, they lost. The Eagles lost this week. He still had 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. That's what he's been doing all season. And number 4, Justin Fields at Atlanta. This is a great matchup. And yes, Justin Fields is on the rise 2 weeks in a row. He rushes for more than 100 yards. If he continues to be a run-first quarterback, he will be great for fantasy. In real life, there's always that injury risk, but great for fantasy. And number 5, Joe Burrow at Pittsburgh. I love the Cincinnati offense. Joe Burrow's trying to click with his receivers. I mean, they just came off a bye, but they're going to be rested. They're going to be ready to go. I think they're going to light up the Steelers. And number 6, Dak Prescott at Minnesota. Dak and company look good for a little bit there, but in the end, they lost the game, a game they probably should have won. So we'll see. Dak so far, waiting for him to get into that groove, but we know that offense can be explosive. Number 7, Lamar Jackson at Carolina. Since those week 2 and 3 explosions, we haven't seen much from Lamar Jackson. So he still gets a high ranking just based on respect and past performance, but he is definitely trending down. And number 8, Kirk Cousins, home against Dallas. We know Kirk Cousins has weapons. They added TJ Hawkinson. Justin Jefferson's been lighting it up, and they're going to have to keep up with Dallas. This could be a high scoring game. And number 9, Justin Herbert, home against Kansas City. Is Justin Herbert okay? He got hit in the head this week. We know he had that rib torso injury issue that I don't know, it's probably not 100%. So there are a lot of doubts with Justin Herbert. And that question, Tua Tagovailoa or Justin Herbert, is starting to get very interesting. Very interesting. And number 10, Daniel Jones, home against Detroit. The only reason Daniel Jones is ranked this high is because there's good quarterbacks on buys and because they're playing Detroit. Detroit at home, the absolute worst defense in the league. And number 11, Aaron Rodgers, home against Tennessee. Aaron Rodgers still hanging around in that top 12. They came back to beat the Cowboys. He had a good game. We'll see if that trend continues. It wasn't looking good, but maybe this is what they needed to pump a little energy into that team. And Christian Watson came alive. And number 12, Jared Goff at the New York Giants. Like we say week in and week out, that Detroit offense is good, Jared Goff didn't have a great fantasy week in week 10, but we expect them to rebound. I mean, the Giants, yes, they're 7-2, but I still think they're probably as weak at a 7-2 team as you can be. So I think they can still be exposed.
Hold on,
And
hold
number
on, hold on.
yes.
Jared Goff hasn't reached the top 12 since maybe week 4. What do you like about him?
It's the offense. Yeah, the touchdown passes aren't coming, but again, and I got him ranked 12. I mean, only he probably wouldn't be in the top 12 this week if all the quarterbacks were playing. So I think this is a good place for him because that offense is good. They just put up 31 points against the Bears in a win. They have consecutive wins because that offense is good. Jared Goff is in the middle of the pack. And number 13, Jimmy Garoppolo at Arizona. This is a good matchup. And San Francisco has a great offense. The issue with San Francisco is they love to run, run, run. We'll see how many opportunities Jimmy Garoppolo gets in this game. And number 14, Marcus Mariota, home against Chicago. And Marcus Mariota is a poor man's Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. He runs, and because of that, he normally is in the top 24, but he's not passing for anything. And when he runs, it's not as much as the other running quarterbacks. But there's potential. There's potential here. And number 15, Russell Wilson, home against Las Vegas. Wilson has been a huge disappointment this season, but he's got a good matchup, and he's probably a week healthier. So we'll see. And number 16, Derek Carr at Denver. Denver, tough defense. Derek Carr has weapons, but man, have the Raiders been inconsistent, and I think it starts from the top. I don't know what Josh McDaniels is doing.
Hold on. The one thing you kept on saying all season is throw it to Devontae Adams. They're doing that, but they're not winning. What's up with Derek Carr?
Sporadically, yes. They started to throw more to Devontae Adams, but not as much as they should, and that offense should be more I don't know. They just seem to be handing it off to Josh Jacobs way too much. They want to have, it's not even a balanced attack. They want to run more than anything. But I don't know, that defense is a mess. Maybe it isn't Josh McDaniels. Maybe it's just that defense can't beat anybody. And number 17, Matt Ryan will be home against Philadelphia. Tough defensive matchup, but you know what? Those big bad Eagles didn't look so tough against the Commanders on Monday night. And Matt Ryan looked good in week 10. I think Jeff Saturday is just, he's taking some risks. I mean, what does he have to lose? He basically wants to inject some positive energy into that team, and I think it worked. Matt Ryan went out, had a decent game. Jonathan Taylor had his best game of the season. Maybe there is a little hope for Matt Ryan in his old age, about to expire. And number 18, Taylor Heineke at Houston. It's a good matchup. Taylor Heineke looked decent against the Eagles, got the Commanders a victory. We know he has that chemistry with scary Terry McLaurin. So, with this good matchup, you got to put Heineke over here. And number 19, Ryan Tannehill at Green Bay. Is Tannehill healthy? Will he play? He's been banged up, took another tough hit in week 10. We'll see, but he did well. He did well in week 10. I know this is a Derrick Henry team, and the offense goes through Derrick Henry, but Brian Tannehill should do enough to get into the top 24. And number 20, Matthew Stafford at New Orleans. Matthew Stafford, the question is he going to play? If he does, he probably should be ranked in the top 24, but barely. I got him at 20. At 21, Jacoby Brissett at Buffalo. The only reason the horrible Jacoby Brissett is ranked here is because of his matchup. Cleveland is going to have to pass, and because of that, he will make the top 24. And number 22, Kenny Pickett, home against Cincinnati. Same thing here. Kenny Pickett has looked atrocious. Yes, they won in week 10, but he looks like a rookie trying to learn the game. Will he grow? We will see. But Kenny Pickett makes bad decisions day in, day out. But they're going to have to keep up with Joe Burrow, who's going to put up a lot of points. And number 23, Andy Dalton, home against the Rams. Andy Dalton looked atrocious in week 10, but we saw what he can do, a couple of weeks ago. He has weapons in New Orleans. He could put up a big game. We like him here. And number 24, Mac Jones, home against the New York Jets. He's the best of what's left. So we're going to trust a little on Belichick and hope that offense, has some interesting plays, moves the ball against the Jets, and hopefully Mac Jones throws, a couple TD passes. So there you have it. There are your top 24 for week 11.
All right, before we go, let's just take a look at your rankings compared to some others. The first one that pops out is Jared Goff. You have him at 12. Some other rankings have him at 16.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I like that offense. I like the Detroit offense. I think Jared Goff's had a little bit of bad luck, where Jamal Williams is running in. Jamal Williams is getting the rushing touchdowns where they could easily be passing touchdowns, So I think because of that, you got to give Jared Goff the benefit of the doubt. But he's no world beater.
I don't see many differences in this week's rankings. The only one I would talk about is maybe Matthew Stafford and Mac Jones. You have ranked, and some other rankings don't have them.
Yeah, Matt Stafford, he may not play. That's his question. That's the question mark there. And yeah, Mac Jones. I mean, now you're talking about the bottom, 4 quarterbacks. So yeah, it depends who you want down there. Mac Jones just barely made this list.
Well, thanks for coming on here and sharing the top 24 quarterback rankings for week 11. I always believe you get what you give, right?
Absolutely. Love your fantasy team.
Those fantasy good fellas.
Boom, boom, boom. Rolling on the field.
Those fantasy good fellas.